What's up, everyone? Back for another Whodunit Beer review, and today's beer comes courtesy of a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber, Kyle, over at No Hype Beer Review. So thank you very much, Kyle, not only for this Whodunit beer, but he actually gave me another one. I'll post a link in the description box to Kyle's channel. Great dude, great content, great channel. You know who is not a great person? This guy. I just want to apologize right up front to Kyle. He gave me both of the Whodunit beers back in late July at the 2019 East Coast BeerTuber-apalooza that was hosted by Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews. At the end of the night, a lot of people threw a bunch of different beers into everybody's coolers and backpacks, and I took home a bunch of beer. And when I got home, I threw it right into my beer fridge. And the two Whodunit beers were kind of like the two first that I just threw into the fridge. And they got kind of lost in the back of the fridge, and that's because I bought so much beer over the last couple of months. In August, I did the whole mixed six-pack theme month where I bought a bunch of beer and drank one per day. That was a lot of beer. And then in September, in mid-September, I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and came back with like 40 different beers. So these kind of got lost in the back of the fridge, and I totally forgot about them. Kyle texted me a couple weeks ago, was like, "Hey man, did you ever review those Whodunit beers?" And I said, I'm a piece of shit. Kyle. No, I didn't. I was like, I totally forgot about them. So here we are reviewing them today. I'm through most of the hop forward beers I have and everything. So I was like, I'm going to bust them out now. The only good thing about Whodunit beers is that I am, you judge them on what's in the bottle in front of you, whether it's, 3 years old or 3 days old or whatever the case may be. So if this was like a regular hop forward beer or something he gave to me, I'd feel extremely bad. I already feel bad enough about it. But, usually when people send me stuff, or give me stuff, I get to it right away. I only have a couple beers from other people that sent me stuff, other beer tubers and whatnot. I got a couple from Jeff, aka No Jinx, that are like Imperial Stouts that I'm sitting on. Kyle sent me a Bourbon County brand vanilla stout last year. I'm probably going to review that this year as part of like a theme week in November. So beers like that I sit on, but like hop forward beers and Whodunits, I usually get to them right away. So once again, Kyle, I do apologize for not getting to these sooner. Hopefully it doesn't matter, but I guess we'll see. All I can say about this is that this beer is at the very least 2.5 months old, because that's right around the time he gave them to me was in late July, and we are now in early October. So yeah, anyway, if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit beer reviews are, they are basically mystery/blind beer reviews that were popularized by the aforementioned Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews. Somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer, like Kyle did with this one, and then they will either send or give me said beer, and I'll review it like I do any other beer on my channel, with the lone exception being I have no idea what the beer is, as you can see. So at the end of the review, I try to guess the style, the ABV, and if I'm feeling confident enough, I will actually guess the beer itself. I did it once. I failed miserably. I haven't tried it since, although there was another review where I kind of guessed like half-heartedly. I was like, oh man, this probably is 1050, and ended up being 1050, but it wasn't like an actual guess. So the only thing I know about this one is I think this is a 12-ounce bottle, but it kind of looks thicker. Might be like a 12.7-ounce bottle. I have no idea. But it is a bottle, and I don't know what it is. Everything is wrapped up, including the cap. Don't want to give me any hints. I'm just using the tulip glass, and I guess we'll crack it open and get into this one. So we'll see what it is. I will put the cap facing you guys, so I can't even, there's nothing on here. I'll just show you there's nothing on the bottom. We'll have it look at you. And yeah, I don't have any idea. The bottom, I'm trying to think of breweries that use a bottle like this, but I don't know. Okay, that's looking very interesting. All right, so first things first, pouring this out, my guess would be, I'm not going to guess that. Let's just look at the color. So that's like this deep red, like deep copper color, very brassy looking, almost red tinges to it. The head itself is about a 2.5 finger of this really cream colored, khaki colored head, very creamy, fluffy looking. Now, right from the get-go, without smelling or anything, the beer itself looks like a Belgian quad, English barley wine, although not as deep and murky as I'd want from an English barley wine. It doesn't have a haze. It has haze. It's definitely unfiltered. But yeah, that I can see small sediment and whatnot in it. So yeah, I'm gonna say like Belgian quad, Belgian strong dark, or like an English barley wine, Scotch ale type of thing. Let's get a nose. Definitely, there's some kind of Belgian funk in this one. Now, I've had this out of my fridge for almost an hour, about 50 minutes, and it's the only thing about when it comes to these Whodunit beers, I have no idea what temperature to drink them at, just because, yeah, I just don't. If you want something that's going to be like a lager and you're drinking it at room temperature, probably not ideal. So I usually get them out of my fridge and let them sit for half an hour, 45. Like I said, this is more in the 45 minute range. feel like I get a little bit of bourbon in here. Yeah, there's a touch of bourbon. I want to say there's a touch of some kind of barrel, not specifically bourbon. A lot of caramelized sugars though, like caramel, toffee, butterscotch, sweet, like almost a Belgian candy sugar. This is leaning very Belgian influence for me. A little bit of like that Belgian spiciness, a little bit of like a green apple too, which that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, it does. It doesn't smell super complex. It smells like I said, about 45 minutes out of the fridge is probably in the 50-55 range. You know, having the paper towel and everything on it probably doesn't allow it to get to room temperature as quick as you want. So it's a little bit cooler than I want, but whatever, we'll go with it. Cheers, everybody, and thanks again, Kyle. Let's see what this one has to offer. Yeah, it's definitely, to me, it's like a Belgian strong dark, Belgian quad, something like that. Definitely a bigger beer. I can tell there's alcohol in the palate. So first things first, body on this one. Medium to higher side of medium body, has a little bit of heft behind it. So between that and the fact that I can taste the alcohol, I do think this is a bigger beer, 9-10% range. The mouthfeel is very effervescent. There's a lot of carbonation, but it has a nice soft smoothness. It's almost like a nitro beer-esque, and it's gonna sound weird, but like it has a carbonation. It's prickly on the palate, but then that head that was there, when you take a sip of it, it's so smooth and creamy as well. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is like a Belgian strong dark, a Belgian quad, something in that range, approaching in the 10% range. Now, there seems to be like an oaky dryness in this one, and there's quite a bit of fruitiness. Like outside that caramel, toffee, butterscotch stuff I was getting up front, big malt component, there is definitely a spicy Belgian yeast component to this one for me. And then there's definitely a dry, like oaky sensation, but I don't know if that's exactly oak or not. Yeah, I really do enjoy this one. It's nice. Man, this is tough. Let me pour the rest in here. I want to see if anything changes from it. I usually don't do that, but you know, being stumped as I am. So, as I said, now that's a little bit more murky, a lot of sediment. Yeah, definitely a Belgian, some kind of Belgian, bigger Belgian beer for me. This is giving me like Amagang kind of vibes. I don't necessarily think this is Three Philosophers. I remember that being a bit darker and just more red because it uses a little bit of the cherry creek juice. All right, so I don't know exactly what this is. My guess, my final guess, probably gonna be dead wrong. I'm struggling a little bit outside. I'm pretty sure this is Belgian influence. I'm gonna say it's around 10%. I'm gonna go Belgian strong dark, but it's definitely a stronger Belgian beer. We'll say around 10%. We'll just say 9.8 for shits and giggles. I think right around there should be fine. The thing I'm struggling with is whether or not this is barrel aged. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because I am getting a nice like dryness and it has like an oak tannin presence, but I'm not getting a bunch of bourbon. So my final guess, Belgian strong dark, 9.8%. I don't think it's barrel aged. If it is, it's very light on the barrel, just a little bit of oak tannins. I don't think there's anything else in here, like any kind of, any kind of like adjuncts or fruits or anything. Anyway, probably gonna be dead wrong. So let me throw this over here and get into it. So I'll be curious to see how dead wrong I am about this one. Pretty confident that is a Belgian though. Kind of unmistakable from that. Oh, it's Boulevard, not Amagang. That's cool. Let's see what this is. Now I have a feeling that this is going to be way, way under. Guessing, I would have said like on a low 4, maybe like 3.9 out of 5 is what I would have said. And this is their barrel-aged quad. So this is a beer that I had recently, and I was not digging on it. I don't know what it was. I think I gave it a 3.5 or a 3.25. It wasn't for me. So let's see. 11.2, 26 IBU. So they're a bourbon barrel-aged quad, barrel-aged ale. This might be the exact same batch that I reviewed. Yeah, so 11.2%, I said 9.8, off by about 1.5, but this definitely drinks a little bit lower, and I want to say I did that live. I think I did the bourbon barrel aged quad, and I did the bourbon barrel stout. And I really like the stout more. I think I gave this like a 3.25, maybe a 3.5. So I like this a little bit more, doing it blind and drinking a little bit cooler. That I drank room temperature. This one, I would say for me, I like the temperature that it's at. I thought it would be kind of a thing, but this is drinking a little bit more complex to me. And again, I drank that one 6 months ago, so maybe a little age has done it well. So yeah, Boulevard's Bourbon Barrel Aged Quad. This is from November 8th of 2018, so about 11 months old. Maybe it wasn't the exact same batch. I don't know. I'll have to look. It says Best Buy November 7th of 2020. So yeah, you're talking about a beer that I used to love this beer. When it came in the big 750s, it was fantastic. When I reviewed this earlier this year, I was not a fan of it. I think, like I said, 3.25, 3.5, something like that. It was just very underwhelming to me. And this isn't, mind-blowing or whatever, but I do get a little bit more of like the base Belgian quad. As I said, Belgian strong dark, Belgian quad, very, interchangeable in a lot of respects. So I think it did a pretty good job. I will say this. It says, it is a bourbon barrel aged quad. The only bourbon that I'm getting now at this point, almost a year later, is that, oak tannin dryness. It's pretty prevalent, but sometimes with these quads and these Belgian strong darks, more often than not, I just, I'll get a dryness or a spiciness that's kind of hard to peg. So I think I did a pretty good job here. I wish I did a little bit better on the ABV because it drinks, like I said, bigger beer from the body, from the body, though, medium to higher side of medium, 11.2 is a bit thin at this point. And I think I remember saying that. I'm in my mind, I'm trying to go back to that review. I think I gave it like a 3.5. I think it was a pretty thin for what I was drinking, and it just was not all that complex. So I like this a little bit more, 3.9. I'd probably give it a 3.5, so a little bit more than I liked earlier this year. But again, it's aged a little bit longer. So yeah, if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. I think it did a pretty good job. I said Belgian strong dark at 9.8, and I said might have some barrel influence, if so, just the oaky tanniness, and it becomes a bourbon barrel aged quad at 11.2. I really was thinking, Amagang, I was getting Amagang, but Boulevard Amagang, a lot of times their beers are very similar to me, and they're not using like the same yeast strain or whatever, but just has very familiar characteristics. So thanks again, Kyle, for hooking me up with this one. I do appreciate it, good sir. I will get to the other one tomorrow and post that review about a week. These are going to be about a week apart. I'm going to post this one relatively soon after reviewing this, and then I can't even get the tape off of this, so I'm not even going to try. No, I got it. Post the other one about a week later. So you'll see 2 Whodunit beers within the course of a week. The other one is a 16-ounce can, so that should be interesting. But yeah, anyway, I'm pretty happy with how I did about this one. Yeah, anyway, thanks again, Kyle. Once again, I apologize for getting to this a bit later than you probably wanted, and certainly I did, but here we are. Anyway, sorry for the super long Whodunit beer review. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another one. And until next week, cheers. Thanks again, Kyle.